So we're going to be looking at two indicators today. Don't worry too much right now about the numbers. I'll kind of explain that. But the first indicator is sales to actives ratio, meaning what sales are actually happening to the active listings on the market, what percent are actually selling. And of course, we're going to be looking at prices, what's happening here in the Metro Vancouver area throughout the last 3 years. But let's focus back onto that sales to active ratio. So let's kind of break that down. So during a normal market, we can see that I did a graph here that normally between 12 and 28% of homes actually sell. So, the last year and a half, that hasn't been the case, as we'll see. But for more of a regular market, we can see these types of percentages. So back in 2019, we can see there's 10%, which is quite low, and we call that more of a buyer's market. In March 2020, we had 24%, which is a little over that medium line of 20%. So it was more in that seller's market. So we can really use that 20% as a straight diagonal line of more of the balanced market. If they're selling a little under than 20%, like 10, we're going to see lower prices, a downward pressure on prices. And if we're above that, we're generally going to see upward pressure on prices, so more expensive homes. So as we can see throughout January 2019 to March 2020, it was a balance, right? So we were kind of underneath. Then we went up, then we went down, then we went a little bit up. But this is kind of where it changes. So back in March 2020, we dramatically dropped throughout the summer to very low again, about that 12%. And then we jumped up. We really jumped up, and then we kind of balanced out. And then again in 2021, we had tremendous growth. We went from, in March 2020, 24% to 58%. So that is that time where prices were kind of going crazy. It was during COVID and people were just buying up real estate. We had the most sales we've had almost ever. It was 5,716 sales. So there was buyers out, there was buyers looking, there was sellers, there was so many transactions, and that's why we had that crazy amount of sales. But then again in March, April, May, June, July, August, we kind of went a little lower here, still at about 30%, so quite high compared to the normal. So we were still in that seller's market. It just looks like a dramatic drop because of where we are at. But then again, it didn't drop past that 30. It didn't go back lower. It kind of stayed there, and then again, it jumped. Then this is like during October, and then November, December, January, it kind of died. But then again, in March 2022, we had a huge increase, back to 54% home selling, way above the median. We were way up here, very close to what we were in March 2021, with almost probably around 5,000 sales. So it was really, really going high. Then we had a slow decline April, May, June, July, August, September. And now is where things have really gone back down. So we saw that drop last time to 30%, and then we kind of recovered. Today we were at actually that 20% line. I know it seems like that, you might hear, but we were actually at the very center of a balanced market. But this is the thing. We only have 1,884 sales compared to what we used to be having at 5,700, 5,000. So we've really knocked off sales. There's not amount of transactions going on. It's very much dramatically jumped. And we can see that again in price. So in March 2020, the average home, the average diversion of all properties, townhomes, condos, and houses was 934,000, the absolute average. And then in March 2021, we did that huge jump again to 1,066,000. It almost went up 100,000 or a little more. And then again in March 2022, we hit that big jump at 1.263, from 1,066,000 to 1.263. So this is where things were very unaffordable. Things were selling. This is back when we were at 58% sales, 54% sales. We were just jumping. And in between that, it was slower. We actually had those prices stay the same. They didn't come down. We didn't see a drop. We actually slowly went back up to 1.263. But again, since March, this is the absolute high point in 2022. We can see April was leveled off. May was just around here, a little bit slower. June, still quite high, but dropping off. July and August, and now here we are at August. Now, the question is, where are we going? As we can see, we never had this jump right here, or sorry, downward trend. We didn't have this during the last couple of years. We had it come from here, and it's only gone to like right there. We had this high point here, and it kind of went down a tiny bit, but then again, it took off. So now from this high point, we can really see a drop. We can really see that decrease in price of homes. And we can see it here. We can see that there's less sales. So the question is, where are we going? Are we going to go down to the very bottom? Are we going to level out here? Are we going to level out here? Are we going to level out here? The question is where. So let's take that first mark. We were at 1.26. We're about 1.18 now. Are we going to be at prices March 2021 at about 1.1? Are we going to be back in the middle of 2020 to 21 just at $1 million? Or are we going to drop back to 2 years prices, a little less than $1 million? So we've already had that quite severe drop. Now it's September, and we are going to be seeing another increase in interest rates. So I think that is going to push us down a little bit. In my opinion, I think we are going to hit that 1.1 mark. Just because interest rates, there's less transactions. But I don't see us actually coming back to 2-year lows at this level. There's no indicators that it's going to be going that far down. We were in this crazy market, but real estate, I mean, there's still transactions. There's still people wanting to buy. But I do believe it's going to come down a little bit. Maybe around here in December is the price. But I do think we're going to start level off and have a little bit of growth. I don't think we're going to have that growth that we had in here for that last year, but I do think we're going to pick up a little bit and maybe level off and go something like that. But I know this is quite messy, but the point is that we can see that prices have been increasing the last 3 years. We are going to have a drop. There's not a lot of indicators that are going to say that we're going to go way back down. Lots of people are saying it's going to be like 2008 and, like a 50% market correction. We've already had between 10 and 15 to 20%, depending on the market, which market you're in. But I do believe we are going to be going down a little bit lower.